Another key figure in the Cuyahoga County corruption probe is on his way to prison.
Yeah, Michael Gabor was sentenced today on corruption and racketeering charges. On your side, Chief Investigator Ron Regan has been covering the corruption probe from the very beginning. You were in court today for sentencing. Now, this is the man tried alongside Jimmy Dimora. So how much time did Gabor get?
Well, it turns out Gabor's going to get 10 years and 1 month behind bars in a federal prison. But it could have been a lot more. Here's why. Here's what unfolded just after his defense team arrived at court this morning. Leif Crispin, that's his defense attorney, headed into court ready to argue that Gabor deserved only 2 years for his crimes. Crispin spent most of the morning trying to convince the judge that Gabor was a minor player and nothing more than a loyal friend, and corrupt politicians led him astray. Gabor was convicted in March on 7 corruption charges, including paying $5,000 for his job in the auditor's office and funneling cash to Joe Gallucci, who agreed to run against former auditor Frank Russo in what was called a sham election. That was to ensure that Russo would win re-election. Prosecutors wanted 15 years behind bars, arguing that Gabor did little work in the auditor's office and spent time driving former Commissioner Jimmy Dimora to meetings and dinners dealing with bribes. But when it was all over, Judge Sarah Leoy found that Gabor had become, quote, immersed in a world of deceit and self-interest. Later, his defense attorney told me Gabor was convicted because he was tried alongside convicted felon Jimmy Dimora.
I would have liked to have had my own trial. You know, Jimmy Dimora is a large man, he casts a large shadow, and we couldn't get out of the way of his shadow during that trial. So, I mean, to me, that really stands out as something that we just couldn't get out of Jimmy's shadow, and we got rolled up in the wash.
And you think that could be appealable?
That's certainly an appealable issue.
And in addition to the 10 years and 1 month, Gabor surrendered his state pension of roughly $22,000 that will go to Cuyahoga County as restitution for his crimes. A couple of interesting observations here. He lost 40 pounds so far in prison, and he remained in ankle cuffs, chains, and handcuffs throughout the proceeding. Now, he's asked to go to prison in either Morgantown, West Virginia, or Loretto, Pennsylvania, but government prosecutors say both those house other corruption figures, and they've objected to that. So it's going to probably wind up being the Bureau of Prisons that flips a coin and decides where he's actually going to wind up. I will point out he didn't get terribly emotional. It looked like he turned around at one point and mouthed a couple of words to his wife and family, something along the lines of "I'll be all right." But it was a pretty straightforward event.
But as you pointed out, not necessarily the end of the road here.
No, appeals are coming, and they think they have grounds for it. They're all appealing.
All right, okay.
And you'll be all over it as you have been.
You bet.
Chief Investigator Ron Regan. Thanks, Ron.
Thanks.